Today I'm going to show you how to choose the right hedge for your garden, whether you want privacy or to encourage wildlife or just a pretty boundary. So here they are, hedging plants for every situation. And of course the main one, the main reason why we have a hedge is for a bit of privacy. When it comes to privacy all year round, what you need is an evergreen hedge. Check the potential height of any hedging plant before you buy. Euonymus is a great candidate for privacy and for evergreen ability. This is a variegated one called Bravo. Its bright yellow edges, the colour of butter really do sing out in winter. If I could choose just one evergreen hedging plant with broad leaves, it will be this. This is the Portugal laurel. It's a lovely thing because its leaf stalks are crimson and the stems are too, particularly on the side that faces the sun. If I turn it slightly, you'll see they're paler where the sun doesn't get to it. But you get this lovely two-tone effect with crimson leaf stalks and rich, dark green, glossy leaves. It will grow reasonably fast. It can put on up to a foot a year, but it will take clipping really well. And I think that makes a cracking hedge. A lot of people use laurel, Prunus laureocerasus, large, big, beefy plant, large, bright green, glossy leaves. It's good if you remember to keep pruning it and keep it in check. This one is perhaps a little bit more interesting. This is a variety called Castlewellen, and the leaves here are delicately marbled with creamy white. They're narrower too, so it's not as big and beefy as ordinary laurel, but like laurel, it stays evergreen right the way through the year, and its leaves reflect the light beautifully. These leaves on this plant don't reflect the light, but if you look at the undersides, they are a sort of creamy bronze colour. This is Eleagnus ebbingei, a very fast grower. This can put on 18 inches, 45 centimetres a year with ease. You may have to clip it twice a year, it's so vigorous. But it's very, very good for thickening up quickly and giving you a pretty impenetrable hedge. Noise pollution is an ever-present factor in our daily lives, and it's a real pain, but a hedge will help to soften that, again particularly if it's evergreen, so the foliage is carried right the way through the winter. And one of the best is yew. It's a cracking plant, yew. People used to say it's slow growing. Nonsense. It'll put on a good 6 to 9 inches a year, that's 15 to 25 centimetres. It takes clipping really well. It's a superb plant. The only thing that yew doesn't like is soggy soil. It can't cope with poor drainage. It's good on chalk, in all manner of other soils. So for me, a yew hedge is one of my absolute favourite preferences. We've all heard the horror stories about leyland cypress hedges, which actually are only a problem if they're not regularly clipped. But a safer bet is this. This is Thuja Occidentalis. Its foliage is a little bit coarser than leyland, but the glorious thing about it, apart from being shiny, is that it's fragrant. Crush that and you get a fruity flavour. If you're old enough to remember boiled sweets called spangles, they smell just like spangles. Thuja is a really good evergreen hedge, and it will take relatively hard clipping, harder certainly than leyland cypress. Remember with conifers, if you clip back with this particular conifer into brown wood, as with leyland, it will not regenerate. Yew is much better in that respect, but conifers, cypresses like this one, never clip them back into brown wood because they simply won't regenerate. If you're by the sea, a lot of hedges don't like salt-laden winds. This one can cope beautifully. This is Griselinia. Its second name is Littoralis, and littoral means growing on the shores, on the seashore. So Griselinia is a cracking evergreen, bright green leaf plant. I have it outside my garden on the Isle of Wight. It takes quite hard clipping once a year and forms a really dense boundary that cuts down sound and also the prying eyes. When it comes to both privacy and sound suppression, the thicker your hedge is, the better. So if you really want a dense hedge, rather than planting a single row, do a staggered row or a double row, or a double row with singles in the gaps, rather like the 5 on a dice. And that way you'll end up with a hedge which is really dense, really sound suppressing, and really private. You can sunbathe in your bikini then. Hedges can also bring you flowers and fragrance. The bay tree. Lovely fruity fragrance from those leaves. It's very, very good as a plant, a good evergreen. Mind you, if you're in a drafty, cold place, the leaves can get burned in winter. So try and find them a sheltered spot or in the milder southern counties where they'll be absolutely fine. Viburnum tinus is this beauty here, which has got these flat heads of white flowers opening from pink buds. In winter, that's the joy of it. It flowers at a time when not much else is doing its best in the shrub department. And you can see as the flowers fade, you get these tiny little red fruit. So it's interesting for a good part of the year. It makes a rounded dome of a bush. It'll make a hedge easily 6 feet high if you let it grow, and then clip it. Clip it when the flowers fade and the spring growth is just coming. And the Mexican orange blossom, Choisya. This is the yellow-leaved form, acid yellow, called Sundance. Crush the leaves and they're aromatic, but in May it's covered in white fragrant flowers and you'll get a second burst in September. I use this on either side of my drive in its plain green form, and I clip it into a kind of rolling sea. All hedges are wildlife friendly. You don't get birds building a nest on a fence, but some hedges offer sustenance to all manner of insects and birds in terms of food. And if you look to buried hedges, they're particularly good for keeping birds and insect life going right the way through the winter. Berberis, the barberry. There are lots of different varieties of berberis. They have flowers as well, so they're offering pollen and nectar to bees, wasps and other insects. And if you look at this carefully, you'll see there are thorns. And thorns, like these, will keep dogs out. So if you want to keep dogs out, choose a berberis. But the great thing about them is they offer those berries for birds in winter. But nothing, of course, is better than holly when it comes to berries. The interesting thing about holly is that male and female flowers are carried on different plants, and only the females carry the berries, but they need a male nearby to pollinate them. Just to make it even more complicated, Golden King is female and will carry berries. I'll go no further. You'll enjoy the variegated leaves on holly, and the birds and the wildlife will enjoy the berries. And so we come to what a friend of mine calls posh people's hedges. People with gardens large enough to have internal hedges as well. Well, we can all do a bit of that, even in a tiny garden, by dividing up areas with long, low boundaries. Rosemary is a good candidate for a low hedge. Keep it clipped and you can grow it up to knee or waist height. There are tall varieties like Miss Jessop's upright. If you want to plant them closer and let them come up, I'd use the ordinary one and clip it into a relatively informal shape for a hedge. The most widely grown dwarf hedge until recent years was box, Boxus sempervirens. But over the past few years it falls prey to box blight, which is a fungus and turns it brown, and box moth. You can see the little caterpillars eating the leaves. But if you want to grow box, then particularly with the moth, you need to find some way of controlling it. An organic control like this one, you can spray on at regular intervals. The packet gives you all the information, and this particular nematode will feed on the box moth and reduce its damage. Otherwise, look for something different. Euonymus is good. If you don't like variegation, go for green spire. It's glossy, it's green. For me, it's not quite as good looking as box, but it doesn't get box moth. An alternative, again, with a leaf which is nearer to box than the Euonymus, is this, Ilex crenata, a dwarf small-leaved holly. This is a variety called Jenny. Give it good soil and an open, sunny situation, and that way you've got an alternative to box. What you will have with any of these plants is a hedge which offers you interest all the year round, is a home to wildlife, gives you privacy, reduces noise. I mean, what's not to like? So I know it's tempting, particularly when you get a new garden, just to whack up a fence. But if you do, plant a hedge in front of it. It'll be much easier on your eye. If you want more gardening advice and inspiration like this, then why not subscribe to my channel? I'm posting new videos every week.